GHEX Manchester 2024, our global event. Today, it's a pleasure to introduce you to one of the attendees, Dorcas Ross, a hardworking advocate for home education in Bolivia, whose dedication to education and the well-being of children extends for over a decade. And as we embark in our discussion, we aim to uncover the unique aspects of home education in Bolivia and Dorcas' vision of the future. Dorcas, welcome.
Hi, I'm really happy to be here with you, Erika.
We're happy to have you. So I know we're going to see you in Manchester. This conference is going to be great, and it aims to strengthen the global homeschooling network. We're going to collaborate together. We're going to share all our successful educational methods, our challenges. It's lovely. But today, could you tell us something about the educational landscape in Bolivia and how legal frameworks affect homeschooling there?
Well, Bolivia is a country among Latin America, which is all the way across the oceans for you and for all of you in Europe. And well, it's not legally formulated or permitted, nor is it prohibited. It's kind of, there's a void of some sort, and so that's what we're advantage of as homeschoolers. There are, however, very harsh educational laws. In my country in particular, I think it's one of the most challenging countries to homeschool, because there are at least 3 regulations in educational law that make it harder for homeschoolers. One of them is that all children in school age must be registered in a school of the Bolivian system. So you cannot register your children abroad, which is something that lots of people do in all Latin America. They register their children in umbrella schools up in USA or in Colombia or whatever. You can't do that here. It has to be a Bolivian school in the system. So it took a lot of negotiation skills from the leadership to reach out to the traditional schools and have them understand our way of work and that they could trust us. So the Association of Homeschool Bolivia is full of heroes, people who are very patient to try to explain to traditional teachers about our way of work and teach our children and have them understand that we are to be trusted. So that's only one of the 3 big ones that make it a headache for us daily and yearly to homeschool. But still, we're standing together and we're doing it as long as we can.
Amazing. That's amazing. I'm so grateful that I can speak to you and speaking to people like you. And you're right now at a homeschooling meeting. I mean, how true can you get? That's amazing.
Today is Children's Day in our country. And so we are celebrating the kids, the younger ones, 12 and below years old. And so we had games, and it's lunchtime right now, and we're going to play a little bit more, and then they're going to have party favors. So this is a fight in the end. And I'm sorry that I have to use the word fight, but this is a fight about freedom. This is about the freedom of the peoples, you know, the peoples of the world, that they have to be able to decide on their own, that they don't have to have a stranger, which is the state, telling them what to do and what not to do and how to live their lives.
That's our mission. It's true. And with your vast experience in home education in Bolivia, what would you say? What are the growth shifts that you have witnessed in the demographics or the perceptions about home education? Has something changed in these years?
Yeah, when we began, my family is one of the founding families of the country. When we began to homeschool, there was no community, no association, no structure, no allies, no umbrella schools, nothing. We practically did it alone on our own for the very first 7 years. Of course, some people had homeschooled their kids before us, mostly parents of sports people, like, you know, Olympic gymnastics girls who couldn't really fulfill with the traditional school's calendar. So they would somehow homeschool the kids, but that was not their intention. Homeschooling was tangential to the other things that were happening in their lives, which was mostly sports and competitive sports. Also some missionaries, maybe some diplomat children's, and that was it. There was nobody who would really associate, and not Bolivians. I mean, I've known people who were from Chile and that were homeschooling longer than me in this country, but never did they think in starting an association. So when we were there, and some people already was beginning to ask about it, and the day we were founding Homeschooling Bolivia, which is the national movement here, the national community, we were asking each other, do we need to do this? We're just 6 families. So we can, we can walk across the school years, not even being noticed. It's just 6 families. Government will not know, families will maybe not know. And when we're on the other side, when our children graduate from school, we'll be off the hook. And why do we care to do anything else? Why the extra job? Why do we want to found an association to defend our freedoms and our civil liberties? Why do we want to burden ourselves, besides, apart from the homeschool work, with doing an association? And we said mainly because we want our children to do this when they're grown-ups and when they have their own children. And if we don't fight today, the phenomena for them will be harder when they are parents. The scenario for them will be worse when they are parents, because that's how things are going. So that's what moved us. And so we began with 6 families. And now I think across the country, we have around, my calculations are about 700 families.
Wow. The GHEX global meeting that we're going to have in Manchester also caters to those who are interested to understand if home education could be the right choice for them. When they're transitioning in your country between, maybe very classic school approach and all that, what challenges do they have? What support systems are available to them?
There are some legal challenges. We had to negotiate for a long time with traditional schools, make them understand that our children were being educated, just not seated. You're not doing something illegal because it's not forbidden. And the legal principle is, if it's not expressly forbidden, then it's allowed. It's just not regulated. It's not regulated. So it's not forbidden in any part of Latin America. Make sure to document your homeschooling the best as possible so that you can demonstrate if you're taken to trial, which has not happened in my country yet. Or if you're brought up to the authorities, that your children are actually not being denied their rights. So I think that's something that happens all the way in Latin America, also in USA, and I know also for a fact that in Europe. So it's just the same challenges all around the world, just in another language. Yeah. It's a family uniting power, homeschooling.
Thank you again, Dorcas. Thank you so much for being here today. In closing our discussion with Dorcas Ross, she reminded us that each family strengthens the whole home education community, ensuring that the movement not only endures, but flourishes, because home education works. Bye.